Welcome to the Warsquared Fantasy Football Podcast, a full-service year-round podcast with weekly episodes to provide fans with info on their teams and players. Whether you're a newbie or a longtime veteran of the fantasy wars, Warsquared is the podcast for you. And welcome in here. We're going to get to the Week 10 recaps in just a minute, but we're going to start off with the key injuries. Cooper Kupp, not a break, but a high ankle sprain, having surgery Wednesday. We're recording on a Tuesday, which is rare and unusual, but might become the norm. He's going to be on IR, out for a minimum of 4 weeks. Injury is a 4 to 6. If it goes well, he's out for the year, folks.
He done for the year. He done. Even if he's not, he done because they're going to shut him down and let him heal for next year, be healthy, because this year's done for the Rams.
Yeah, stick a fork in him. They're done.
Yeah. Yep. Stafford's still in the concussion protocol.
AKA his wife doesn't want him playing anymore.
Well, his wife has said he will never take another snap in the NFL if she has her way.
And I believe her.
I believe her too. And if I was him, choose the NFL and her, I'd choose her in a heartbeat.
She's already survived brain cancer, so.
Yeah, that's a hard sell for him.
Yep, he done.
Especially with their two little ones. So
he done.
Well, I thought they had more than two. I thought they had like 3 or 4 little girls.
maybe it is, but I saw a picture of him walking with 2 of them, and I'm like, yeah, she's done.
Yeah, he's done. With the amount of money he's got saved up, his investments are going well. From what I read an article this summer about how well he's doing. If he doesn't walk away, he needs to have his head examined.
Maybe he should take up pitching and go across the street to the Dodgers. I mean, his high school buddy Clayton Kershaw.
But he was the catcher.
Well, but he's got the gun. Because, growing up, you do it all.
He allegedly still has a gun.
Well, we'll see.
Some of the throws he made earlier this year, we'll have to see what that gun looks like next year if he comes back.
Jamie Moyer pitched into his late 40s.
Yeah,
and
he's the infamous lefty.
Well, hell, Stafford could probably throw as hard lefty as Moyer does.
I think he probably throw harder than he did as a lefty.
Switch it up.
Yeah, but what's going to be amazing, the Rams next year will be looking to completely retool their team at this point in time.
Yep.
With no draft picks.
Good luck.
Moving on to Jerry Jeudy, not an Achilles injury, but a muscle strain. I didn't see the results of an MRI, but I'm assuming he's not playing this week.
They say it's a high ankle sprain from what I read yesterday. However,
yeah,
I saw
they have nothing to play for. Why would you risk it?
He got injured with no contact.
Yeah.
Immediately when he went down, I was thinking, number one thing, torn Achilles. Mm-hmm. That was the first thing I thought when he went down. And by the way, thank you for losing me a game. I needed 1.5 points from you, Jerry Jeudy, and you couldn't produce it for me. Appreciate it. Thank you.
That's what you get for a Bronco.
That's exactly true. But he done.
Yep.
Let's put it this way. He's one of the players that I'd be dropping this week in hopes of being able to pick up any live body that might have a pulse and not a spread.
Whoa.
Dynasty League, you might want to still stash him.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't have him in the Dynasty League. I'd be on the trade block at this point in time.
Allegedly still has an intact ACL, but he is already on a rest of season injury. Goodbye.
Yeah, if he doesn't have a torn ACL of some kind, I'm going to be very highly surprised from watching that injury that he had.
Yep.
Okay, one that's not listed here, Dallas Goedert, out.
Yep, just found out today. Many of you may have seen the Monday night game where Dallas Goedert was tackled to the ground.
By the face mask.
By the face mask.
That they missed.
That they did not call,
but
they called a fumble. Totally just put the nail in the coffin of the game, really.
No, what put the nail in the game coffin was that crappy-ass roughing the passer call where the guy fell into him trying to give him a hug.
That was terrible, and we'll get to that in the recap. But Dallas Goedert, he stayed on the ground for a while. It was a shoulder injury. Now, I knew something was wrong, but I thought it was more like a groin or something like that. But no, it's a shoulder injury. They don't know how long he's going to miss, but he's going to miss time.
He's going to miss 4 to 8 weeks.
They think he'll be back before the end of the season. This is a huge blow to Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm. He should be, when I read, he should be back by the playoffs if the scan comes out correctly today. They're expecting him to be back for week number 17 of the season, which is their 17th game, not week 18, I'm sorry, and get into that game and get some contact and be back up to speed, be able to play in the playoffs. But we'll see.
Yeah. The other injury that happened in here it's not listed on your sheets, but it's Khalil Herbert was put on IR with a knee injury, so he's going to miss 4 weeks minimum. So David Montgomery is about to smash.
Hello, Mr. Montgomery.
If he stays healthy.
Yeah, if
and until he gets hurt, he's going to smash.
Right.
Until he gets smashed.
For at least 2 plays.
Yeah. The only other big news was Cardinals straight up release Eno Benjamin after he had 1 snap because he was openly critical of his playing time and the offense.
Okay, does that mean whatever team picks him up next week, since you cut him early in the season, he's going to go off this week for him?
Oh, probably not. No, not this week, because one of the things I wanted to say, rightfully so, he should be critical of the Cardinals and Cliff Kingsbury.
Definitely.
I gotta watch the Hard Knocks now to see if he's going off during it at all. That would be.
They'll make him cut that.
No, they're going to put that in to make the Cardinals look good.
Maybe. But he was picked up by the Texans with their first overall waiver spot. I mean, really, they need another running back because it's down to Dameon Pierce and Rex Burkhead.
So the next time he's eligible, if you have a fantasy team, pick him up. He's going to go off that week, just like when Tommy drops somebody. The next team that picks him up, he goes off.
Maybe.
I don't think he's going off against the Redskins this week.
I'd be interested to see how many waiver claims were submitted for him, much like the lineman from
Oakland.
No, from the Chargers. Everybody
everybody
and their brother tried to get him.
Well, and
the Raiders got him.
Oakland had the second, I believe.
They're in Las Vegas now, just in case you're trying to keep up with it.
Right. It just popped in my head, Oakland.
They'll always be Oakland to me.
I mean, he is wearing his Redskins shirt. We'll give him credit. He's throwing back.
It is.
Well, you know why he's wearing it? This is the 1 week he can wear it each year. They actually won a game so he can wear it.
Hey, we are 5-5. We are just as good as the Buccaneers.
Well, I wouldn't say just as good, but your record is comparable. How does that sound?
That's it. So we'll go all the way back to Thursday night where the Panthers 25-15 over the Falcons. Donta Foreman went 31 for 130-1 on a rainy night. And we had our second Laviska Shenault sighting as he took a lateral for a 40-yard TD. Marcus Mariota 186-2 through the air, 3 for 43 on the ground. Good fantasy numbers, but he did not look good doing it.
There were at least 3 times in the game that he missed wide open wide receivers that would have been huge gains for Atlanta. Huge gains. And he just overthrew him.
I mean, it's Mariota. What do you expect? The throw from his butt was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
After he was already down.
Well, he bounced, but whatever.
It worked. Sort of.
Cordero Patterson, who had come back in, had 2 TDs the week before, quickly phased out. They mostly played Tyler Algier. Drake London and Kadero Hodge caught the TDs from Mariota, but Kyle Pitts
was disappointing.
2 of 8 receptions, 2 receptions, 8 targets, 28 yards.
You know, Kyle Pitts is the epitome of potential that's not getting there.
Yeah,
and what do you do with him
wasted talent?
What do you do with him as a fantasy owner? Do you keep putting him out there? Or do you find somebody to replace him and hope next year he comes back?
If you're Dynasty, you're putting him on the bench. If you're in a season-long league, outside of this week, you're probably sitting him.
Yeah, I own him in Dynasty and in one regular league. And he's on the bench with Evan Ingram starting in front of him in both leagues.
Yeah. 49ers 22, Chargers 16 on Sunday night. Herbert and Eckler, huge disappointments. 196-1, 5 for 22 on the ground. Eckler, God, I don't know what happened with these notes here. Eckler was a miserable 24 rushing yards, 7 for 39 through the air. The only TD went to DeAndre Carter, who I think Doc picked up.
Yes, I did.
He was 4 for 64 with a touchdown. The good news, I guess, for the Chargers is they looked a hell of a lot more physical than I thought they were going to be. But CMC broke them down. 38-1 on the ground, 4 for 39 in the air. Ceded a lot of work, 36% of snaps, I believe, to Eli Mitchell, who was 18 for 89, 1 for -1 through the air, which really spoke to me and said, CMC is important to our playoff hopes. We're not going to burn this dude out and risk him to injury. We're going to risk Eli Mitchell and Tyrion Davis-Price and those dudes.
Especially on a cold night. They're not going to put him out where he can get any type of soft tissue strain at all unless they have to.
Well, I think what I saw there is Mitchell is viable. That 1-2 punch lets them wear out a defense with fresh legs in the backfield pretty much every series. Yep. And it does alleviate some of your risk as you're going through because, I mean, they're building for the playoffs. They're loaded for bear with skill position.
And they're getting healthy.
Yeah, and their defense is getting healthy too.
And what I see with San Francisco had this game in hand from basically the opening kickoff.
Yeah,
They
it wasn't as close as the scoreboard.
They were going to do whatever they had to make sure players came out of this game healthy and not abused, which is what they did with CMC by putting Eli Mitchell in. If the game would have been closer, we would have seen a lot more CMC, I think.
Yeah, and I think the Herbert Eckler thing that Tommy alluded to. I mean, dude, that's all they had. They had nothing else. I mean, Big Mike's out, Keenan's out, Everett's out. I mean, geez,
Yeah,
I might have had a chance to get some field time if I was in powder blue.
Yep.
Everett went out during the game, so they lose a key component on their offense during the game.
They just had no bullets in the gun. They took a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah. I look at the Chargers and I wonder, number one, what is the strength and conditioning coach doing to help alleviate these strains? Are they working with the medical staff to come up with plans with which to get these things fixed? Now in the offseason, in the regular season, and then in the offseason, what's their plan going to be to get these things fixed once and for all? If they don't have a plan to do that, and they're not evaluating them now, they need to take a huge organizational look at what they can do to do this stuff in the offseason to get these people fixed.
Absolutely.
I think the other side of that too. I don't know if you guys have seen all the articles about all the different types of turf that are approved in the NFL.
3 different types that are available.
What do they have in LA? Because you're seeing a lot of these same type of issues with the Rams, and they both play on that same surface.
I think they have the.
They don't have the slit.
They don't have the slit steam.
But it's the new turf, and it's super grabby.
The field turf, which is excellent turf, but it is super grabby.
I mean, that's what Zach Ertz lost his knee.
My understanding is, why does the NFL mandate? Do you have to have this type of field, no matter what it might be? That way, the playing surface is even and fair wherever they go.
Because they're cheap.
But it's going to cost you
They don't care.
Okay, as a Titans fan, you know how many times they replace the turf in Tennessee on a yearly basis?
Same as in Kansas City. Almost every 2 games.
At least 3 times a week, they replace that turf. I mean, a season. And that's not cheap turf to roll out there and put down.
Mm-hmm.
If they had field turf that was the sticky stuff, they could work with the shoe manufacturers to come up with a shoe that doesn't stick as much, or they could find ways to make that less sticky by changing some polymer associated with it.
Either way, Charger season's over.
Yeah, Charger season is done.
Debo, huge disappointment. 27 rushing yards, 2 for 24 through the air. Definitely second fiddle in the run game, and a second fiddle to Ayuk, who finished 2 yards shy of a big night with a touchdown. He was only 6 for 84.
Yeah. Now, we talked before the season that once Debo Samuels became not a running back as well, his value would drop dramatically. We're seeing the Debo Samuel who's the wide receiver, not Debo Samuel, the all-purpose back.
Right.
Well, and he's also drawing their number one on the opposite side pretty much every day. So because of that, you've seen his numbers drop, which is why Ayuk is so good. The worst move I made this season in any fantasy league was dropping Ayuk. First 6 games he was horrible, so I dropped him, and all of a sudden he became, Benjamin.
Right.
Well, they're kind of turning it into the Chiefs 2.0. They don't have the QB to run it, but they've got the weapons around it. Their weapons are better than what Kansas City has all told.
They are. It'd be interesting to see what Trey Lance would have been like in this offense.
Yeah, he's young. He'll get there.
Yeah. Monday night, the Commanders 32, Eagles 21. Oh no, they're the Commanders. When we win, we get our name.
No, the goddamn Redskins, man. Come on. Even the refs are talking it.
Hail to the Redskins. Yeah. I told Tobin when I got here, I said, I don't know if you heard it or not, but there was one point, I can't remember if it was third or fourth quarter, when the mics were hot, and one of the referees goes, "Oh no, that's going to be first down Redskins."
I didn't hear that one.
But it was awesome.
Tell you what, the Redskins looked good. Now, I think part of that was because the referees blew so many calls against the Eagles. There was at least the 2 horrible calls we alluded to in the beginning with the face mask on Goddard. And then the roughing the passer call that was more of a love fest hug than anything else out there.
That's something that as soon as he did it, I was like, oh, please don't throw the flag. Boom, they throw the flag. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is terrible.
And you saw that and you just go, wow, really? Are you going to be that?
But you go look at the Chiefs game, and the hit that Juju took or the hit that MVS took didn't even draw flags. Yeah, they threw a flag on the Juju one, but picked it up. But
they're wide receivers, not quarterbacks. And so that's one of the things that I heard on ESPN.
Same thing with Herbert Sunday night.
Yep. So they got to figure that out and figure it out fast.
Well, take the skirts off and let them play.
Or just give them flags.
Just put them out there in shorts and a t-shirt and say you can't touch them.
So I made this comment to Heather. We were watching the early morning game, and at halftime of the Bucks game in Germany, the German national women's flag football team divided up and played. And there was probably more contact allowed in that than there was in some of these games.
Oh, I believe you.
Yeah. So,
I mean, the pendulum has swung from no player safety to complete player safety, and it's making the game difficult to watch with all the flags.
well, yeah, I mean, it's the defenders have no clue what box they're supposed to play in. But then they don't protect a defenseless Juju or some of these other guys, and then you in the Niners game, the one guy gets ejected for
hitting Herbert in the head.
Basically the same thing.
Yeah, but it's you're exactly right. They don't know what they're going to call, because had that been Austin Eckler that they hit like that, it's not an ejection.
Right.
No.
It's because it's Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In this game, Terry McLaurin went off 8 for 128. Antonio Gibson 44 and 1 on the ground, 3 for 14 in the air. Brian Robertson
was the man.
26 for 86 and a great reach out.
Brian Robinson?
Hey, what the play impressed me. He drug 4 people 5 yards on one play that I saw.
It was awesome. Jalen Hurts was off, or a victim of bad play calling. 189, and actually I think he ended up 189 and 2. 6 for 28 and 1 on the ground. Threw a TD to Goddard, who was 3 for 23 for 1, and now, like we said, he's out, flying in the face of player safety. If they really want player safety, they make those type of calls reviewable. I mean, it was obvious that it was a face mask. Devonta Smith, 6 for 53 and 1, had a big play that they got a pass interference on that I wish he'd have just got the yards. A.J. Brown no-showed 1 for 7, cost me a ton of money. If he would have caught that bomb that they took away from him, that would have nailed it for me.
I would have won my game. I'm okay with that.
Yep. The Eagles had more turnovers in this game than they had in their first 8 combined.
And for you guys that actually listen and watch this show, you just saw those two basically just have a stepbrothers moment where they both agreed on something. But that doesn't happen very often.
Are we best friends?
Brothers got a hug.
We don't agree on a lot, but we do agree that A.J. Brown should have made that catch.
That is true. That would have been really nice. Bucks 21, Seahawks 16. Guten Tag. Bucks win behind the coming out party of Rachaad White, 22 for 105. Actually got the start because of Leonard Fournette's passport issues, and got a ton of work, especially after Lenny left in the third with his hip injury.
Issue.
I thought he had to get to the airport so he could maybe make the team flight home with all those passport issues.
Yeah.
That's a distinct possibility.
You got to be there 4 hours before Lenny.
14 for 57, 1 for 1 through the air, and an interception that was intended for Tommy, who was not able to moss a guy.
What the hell was that?
It was.
I got nothing for that.
It was field issues.
No, it was dude issues.
That they wanted to do something weird and different as the first game in Germany.
So he flopped?
Well, he didn't mean to flop. That's the other thing. There's your field issue.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we called it. Yeah.
They're going to have to get this.
Several players said that was the worst field they've ever played on, including Pee Wee.
Where did you hear that last week? I wonder.
Now, there's a lot.
Was it you?
They think
something smart came out of your mouth.
I know, it's a miracle.
They think that may be the way they like it in soccer, which is fine, because the soccer guys weigh 150, 170 pounds.
And they're not near as explosive as what they are as far as taking off from a line of scrimmage type thing.
Not
well, and they want it soft first, so when they do flop, it doesn't hurt.
I was thinking about the flopping as well. You just beat me to it.
And the fast track means the ball scoots. So I mean, it's a totally different game. So I understand that. I mean, Tommy was 258 and 2 to Godwin and to Julio, who looked really fast.
But I think he hurt himself on that play.
Yeah.
Did he?
He came up limping.
No. I mean, either way, he looked super fast.
He looked
on that
Julio from like 2 years ago.
For a minute.
3 years ago.
For the Hawks, Geno was great fantasy wise, 275 and 2, 4 for 22 with TDs. The Lockett and Goodwin did a ton of damage to DK, 6 for 71. That guy is literally unguardable. But Ken Walker, surprisingly a non-factor rushing, 10 for 17, but did get 6 for 55 receiving.
Yeah. I mean,
he's a rookie. He'll learn.
If the Bucks have anything going for him, it's that front seven on the D line.
Yeah. Their front seven is top 3 in the league, probably.
Yeah. My takeaway from this game, holy shit, the Germans can pour a beer. Did you see the size of those beers in the stands?
Oh, shit.
I am
They were
in.
pitchers.
Yeah, I am in.
Let's
go.
You know, they need to put a division or 2 in Europe just so we can go over there and visit our favorite team when they have to go play over there.
That's right. Let's go.
That's the plan.
Let's go.
The plan is to have a Europe division within 10 years.
I mean, if Tennessee plays Kansas City there one of these years coming up,
Let's go.
we got to go.
Let's go.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Hope it's in Germany so we can go over there and drink that good German beer, not that crappy English beer.
Yeah. Yeah, please. I don't do warm beer.
Well,
I don't mind warm beer, but
they did announce that they're looking at spots in Spain and France.
Spain would be better.
I could do Spain.
Yeah.
I don't know about the French.
And I can do France, but I can
don't
do
know.
Spain or Portugal. I could do that.
I'd do either. Doesn't matter. Vikings 33, Bills 30 in overtime in what is being labeled as the game of the year.
This is the WTF game.
The Vikings were down 17 in the fourth and won. Captain Kirk 357-1 to the absolute man, Justin Jefferson, 10 for 193 and 1, who took an interception away. They're calling it the catch of the year, the catch of the century. It's pretty damn cool. I can't believe he got it, and that Kirk told him before he threw it, I'm probably just going to throw it up to you.
Wouldn't you?
Yep, absolutely.
Make sure you got Randy Moss. Shut up, let him go make the play.
I mean, when you've got people
Justin
saying that Justin Jefferson reminds you of a young Jerry Rice, you're really saying something about this guy. He did set the record, 2,100-yard games in his first 3 years. He still has 8 left, and 7 150-plus yard games in his first 3 years, and tied Odell Beckham and Lance Allworth for the fastest to 4,000 yards in a career.
Hey, Billy, from one Heights guy to another, you want to trade him back to me?
Yeah, he wants Tyreek Hill.
Well, I don't have him, but I'll work on it.
Dalvin Cook, 14 for 119 and 1, 3 for 27. He had an 81-yard TD to really pad those numbers.
Oh, that was without that run right there, he's pretty much shut down for the game.
Absolutely, he was. Hawk remained a PPR monster, 7 for 45 from the tight end position, making KJ Osborne worthless. Josh Allen played but ran a lot, 330 and 1, 6 for 84 on the ground. Lost not only a fumble that led to the tying touchdown, but threw 2 interceptions, won the sealer in overtime.
Yeah, as a Chiefs fan, I want to throw a shout out to Mitch Morse. He's still winning games, critical games for the Chiefs, as he snapped that ball back to Allen in that critical goal line situation and shorted it. So thank you, Mitch. We appreciate it.
That was
Go Chiefs.
Now, Singletary had 2 early TDs to really get the scoring going. Diggs was his monster self, 12 for 128. Gabe Davis got a touchdown, got that gift play that should have been overruled as the game ended, where he fumbled the ball, where he didn't catch the ball going out of bounds. It went through his hands, but ended up 6 for 93 and 1.
I wonder who called that one.
Yeah, they never should have been in overtime.
No.
Minnesota totally biffed it on the goal line. I mean, if you're going to use the shove somebody in there, make sure you get behind Kirk Cousins and push him in there.
Well, and get somebody bigger than Dalvin Cook to push him in.
Or pick him up and just
It
bring him in.
was CJ Ham, but
Bring another lineman in and let's get some beef in there.
Absolutely.
We'll put Ross in front of us 3 and let us 3 push him in. How's that?
They basically had Ross pushing me in.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
That's not how math works.
No.
I mean, but then the key was they turned it over at the 1 foot line, and then they couldn't get it out of the end zone. I mean, why in the heck are you trying to run it with your QB 2 inches? Spread them out, snap it, and hit a quick hitter to Diggs or to Davis.
How much time was left on the clock?
It was like 45 seconds or something. It wasn't long.
Throw it long. Let Josh rip back and let one rip.
Take a safety and let your defense play it.
Well, they couldn't, because if they take the safety, then they have a chance to beat them with a field goal. Had it been 5 or 6, that's exactly what they would have done. But it's because it was 4 that they couldn't really do
Let
it.
Josh step back, or the backup quarterback, and just say, throw it long. Throw it as far out of bounds as you can, as long as it's one of the sidelines, 40 yards, 50 yards down the line, and just put as much air in it as you possibly can to take 10 seconds off the clock.
Yeah.
Do that 3 times, punt it away, and see what happens.
Yeah, they wouldn't have got the punt away is the other problem. But, I mean, that was the whole thing. Is
We'll run around a little bit, then throw it long.
That's all right. I like the Bills' loss, so
Yeah, you would.
Speaking of a loss, play the sounder for those Cowboys.
Wah, wah, wah.
Oh, well.
There went. I should have put in a Packers sounder for this one because, I mean, he's, at least finally helped Packers win a game.
He had one good game this year.
So the Cowboys, up until this point, had been 195-0 when leading by 14 in the fourth quarter.
Where did you dig that one up?
Oh, it was big. It was all over the place.
Wow.
Actually, Fox put it on the broadcast and said,
There's the kiss of death.
That's exactly what they did. They kissed it.
This guy never misses a free throw.
That's right. Boom. And so that's what happened.
Guys hit 58 straight field goals from this distance.
Packers 31, Cowboys 28 in overtime. Welcome to the NFL. Christian Watson, 4 for 107 and 3 touchdowns.
He finally made a catch.
And he's injured again.
Yep.
And his ankle's acting up. Raj 224 and 3, so he was pretty much terrible except for touchdowns.
That's the average Raj numbers. Raj usually has about 40 more yards than that. That's his normal numbers.
Yep. And one less touchdown or 2 less touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Jones ran well, 24 for 138 and 1, 2 for 18.
Yeah, that's the AA Ron you want in Green Bay.
That's exactly right. Dak had the game in control for most of it, at least until the fourth quarter. He was 265 and 3, but his 2 costly interceptions were both on where he was relying on his receiver to cut in front of the safety and draw them away so he could throw behind them. I mean, this goes back to one of the things Doc's long said about Dak. He's just not that good. I mean, I don't know that they're getting $40 million a year worth out of him, but
if you're paying $25 million a year, you can live with that. 40 million, 45, you can't live with that because it's too much salary cap.
A lot better value with a guy named Cooper Rush right now. I know that.
CeeDee Lamb, 11 for 150 and 2 to have his first 100-yard game of the season.
What game is it? Oh yeah, this was week number 11, correct? Or 10?
10.
Week 10.
Yeah, well,
he finally had his first 100-yard game.
of course he did because his owner was playing against me. So that's all we need to talk about.
And that's a good weapon, isn't it?
Every damn week. If somebody's playing me and their player, go find their players and they're going to go off. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Oh, I have the same issue.
No, you trust me, you don't.
Not even close.
Trust me, I do.
No,
Trust
not
me,
even
you don't.
close. Tony
In the
Pollard.
Dynasty League, yes. In the BNI League, I'm you.
Okay.
In the Aegis League, I'm you.
Tony Pollard, 115 and 1, 3 for 13.
Daku? I mean, Zeke?
Who? Yeah, that's exactly what I was just gonna say. Who cares about Zeke?
How much money could they free up if they got rid of Dak and Zeke? Holy crap.
Next year,
60.
next year, Zach's gone. Zeke is gone next year. That means it's going to probably save them $22 million against the cap.
15.
But if they can't get rid of Dak yet because they got too much money tied up in that signing bonus for the next 2 years.
That's way too
But
painful.
if they could, it'd be 60 million, 65.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a third of the salary cap, folks.
Yeah. A fourth. Dalton Schultz.
Math is hard.
6 for 54 and 1. Dalton Schultz is a stud when Dak is in there.
What's the salary cap this year?
It's 223.
So it is a fourth. I was thinking it was 185 to 190.
That was a couple of years ago.
Math is hard.
But it was just key plays down the stretch.
If you don't know the denominator, it's hard to do math.
See, senor. Denominator.
Yeah.
Terminator.
Numerator.
You throwing the dominator?
You Terminator. Cards 27, Rams 17. Kyler and Stafford were out. So Connor 69 and 2 on the ground, 3 for 17 through the air. Hopkins 10 for 98. You just write down 10 receptions for DeAndre Hopkins.
Pretty much, yeah.
Rondale Moore 9 for 94. All that from Colt McCoy, while AJ Green vultures the TD.
Yep.
Hold on. Do we have the sounder for him and AJ Green? We need.
Oh, which one do you want?
This is his former love affair before Devontae.
Oh yeah. Oh God, I
2
love
years
me
ago.
some AJ Green.
2 years ago we had
5 years ago.
Smooth, 2 years ago we had Smooth Jazz. You and AJ. Then last year it became you and Devontae.
No, 2 years ago it's all been Devontae since then. AJ Green he's been washed
his longtime
up for years.
crush.
Oh yeah. Wofford threw his first NFL TD with
Who?
Walford.
Who?
Yeah.
Who the hell are these guys?
The backup quarterbacks
They're the
that are
backup
getting
Like
paid.
watching Major League. Who the hell are these guys?
I don't know, but
7 seconds left to make this score look better. He threw it to Van Jefferson. By the way, he's the pickup to get for the Rams. He's going to be the number one wide receiver now. I don't
He's
think
the
it's going to be
only
Allen
player for
Robinson.
the Rams you can start.
As we said, Cooper Kupp
And you
injured.
better be desperate.
Cooper Kupp, this is one of the wildest stat lines. When I saw it, I couldn't believe it. He had 3 receptions for -1 yards.
You know, I throw so many bubble screens, people are going to get onto it, especially if you have 0 threat down the field with the QB.
They got right now. Rams are as toothless as.
Yeah, they're gumming their jello right now.
Yeah, they are absolutely. I think the Texans have more weapons than the Rams do at this point in time.
Do you think there's a chance the Rams trade Aaron Donald to the Steelers?
No, not with that they can't afford the salary cap hit from that
I
contract.
mean, in the offseason, they could in the offseason, but can't do it now.
That salary cap hit's going to kill them.
Yeah, the cap's going to hurt. I mean,
They've
they
got-
need to
that'll
go
be-
somewhere. Who's got all the draft picks stockpiled? Because that's where he's going to go.
I mean, they
Because
can't
they've got
afford
to get a
trade.
draft. They have nothing.
He'll just flat out retire if they don't trade him to
They
Pittsburgh.
they can't afford to trade him because the salary cap's they can't afford the salary cap hit unless Stafford retires, Cooper Kupp retires.
Well,
They can't afford to.
Kupp won't retire.
They cannot afford to because of salary cap issues.
Here we go, Doc. Titans 17, Broncos 10. Talk about how great Ryan Tannehill is. We'll wait.
He was serviceable.
That's what she said.
Took the pressure off Henry, and managed the game really well.
I'm really shocked. I really thought we were going to get the diatribe about how awesome Ryan Tannehill played and how that's what they needed and how Malik Willis could have never done that.
Malik
and
Willis
blah,
couldn't have
blah,
done
blah.
that this year.
I'm going to tell you right now, I could have thrown that touchdown pass to Nick Westbrook-Akina.
Which one?
The one that was like 75 yards.
Oh, when he was wide open because
it was a
he read the
flea
blitz.
flicker.
Because he read flea flicker, and then he read the blitz coming as well and threw the ball.
30 yards in the open.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
mean
mean, there was nobody in frame.
Ryan Tannehill is not a top 5 quarterback. He's not even a top 10 quarterback. He's not a bottom 5. He's not a bottom 10 quarterback.
Yeah, I'd put him about 20 in the league.
I put him anywhere from 12 to 20, depending upon.
I'd put him 20 plus or minus 3.
I'd put him 12 to 20, depending upon who we're playing and what the game plan is. But he does what Tennessee needs him to do, and that is manages the game.
I mean, it's a defensive-oriented team. Let's be
Except
honest.
against the
That's what they
Bengals
want.
Last year, he throws the ball to the right place at the right time in most cases. Now, him getting paid as much as he is completely outrageous, but
QB1 in the NFL.
he does what he does for Tennessee, and he does it pretty well. He does exactly what we need to be done. That's
So-
why we're 5-3
Yeah.
or
So
6-3. I'm sorry.
he's 255 or 2 for 12 on the ground. King Henry no-showed 19 for 53, 2 for 14. Again, when the rushing wasn't working, I do not understand why they didn't go to King Henry on swing passes. I mean, get him out there in space.
Because they didn't have to.
Nick Westbrook-Akina was the receiving man, 5 for 119 and 2, but don't pick him up. This is an aberration. This is not a sign of things to come.
He's a pop-up wide receiver by my definition, and he had his one good game.
That was
Everybody-
that was a career night right there.
Every 2 years, he'll have a game like this. He's had it for this year.
Yep.
He's done.
We talked about Jerry Jeudy leaving with no stats. Cortland Sutton didn't step up that much. He was the dreaded Satan, 6 for 66.
I might have to cut him just for that number.
Russ still somehow got to 286 yards and a
Garbage time.
touchdown. I don't understand. Nobody had more than Sutton's. I take that back. Yeah, nobody had more than Sutton 66. The guy who caught the long touchdown, Jalen Virgil, a rookie, he was 1 for 66 and a touchdown.
What you saw here was Tennessee's defensive line without 2 starters who missed the game. Jeffrey Simmons was out.
Bud Dupree was out.
Our top 7 is a top 5, top 7.
Yeah, I won't argue with that.
Simmons and Dupree, we're a top 3. And that's where Tennessee wins the game, is putting pressure on the quarterback, and Russ can't do that. And why Russ's stats were so good, Tennessee had complete control of this game from halfway through the first quarter.
Well, his stats weren't good. It's just that he had 286 yards, and you're just looking at the box score going,
How the hell? Yeah.
how does it add up to 286?
Because Tennessee does one thing really well. Stuff the run and get put pressure on the quarterback.
Right.
I guess that should be 2. I'm sorry.
Well, and they've got to. I mean, that front seven's the key to their future, because that puts a lot of lipstick on a pig that is that secondary.
Well, the problem with Tennessee is Molden came back, got hurt. Our top three cornerbacks missed the game or were injured early in the game.
Yeah.
But Tennessee does what they have to win. It's ugly. It's not very pretty to watch, but they're 6-3.
Speaking of not pretty to watch, Lions 31, Bears 30.
No, this was beautiful to watch.
The Lions are screwing up their draft order, winning their first road game since Matt Stafford was there, and the first road game for Dan Campbell as coach of the Lions.
Coach of the year.
Jamal Williams, DeAndre Swift, both
Not
had
yet.
rushing TDs. Amon-Ra, 10 for 119, but it was Jeff Okudah's pick 6 that turned the game around. Fields, 167-2 through the air.
Barracuda.
147-2 on the ground to once again lead quarterbacks in scoring for the week.
Because he gets 147-2.
Yeah, that's a monster.
That's monster for any position, let alone a quarterback.
Right. His TDs both went to Cole Kmet, 4 for 74 for
He's
2.
back.
No, they finally figured out the offense to use him correctly.
Mhm.
And that's what, we talked the first probably 5 games about their offense has got to be tailored to his strengths. And they did it. And when they did it, he became a good, not great, a good NFL quarterback.
He's an athlete playing quarterback.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's the reason why earlier in the year I said he's going to be the next tight end for the Saints. I said if you put him in that mold
Taysom Hill.
put him in Taysom Hill's mold, he's going to be able to be successful in doing that. And they've done that for him.
Dolphins 39, Browns 17. The Browns got behind early, and Chubb 11 for 63 and 1, 3 for 18 with 33 coming on his TD run. Could not get it going. Cooper disappeared, 3 for 32, but Donovan Peoples-Jones showed out, 5 for 99, had 9 targets. Tua was 285 and 3. 1 went to Alec Ingold, 1 went to Trent Sherfield, and then finally Tyreek, who only was 5 for 44. I think he'll be off pace now.
That'll change quickly.
Waddle was 4 for 66 and another fantasy disappointment. Remember we said both Miami backs? Jeff Wilson Jr., 119 and 1, 2 for 24. Mostert was 65 and 1, 4 for 22. But Jeff Wilson outsnapped him 2-1. So Jeff Wilson is the back to own in Miami right now. And when you watch the game, he looks so much better than Raheem Mostert.
Until he gets hurt.
Until which one gets hurt?
Both. Either or. Pick
See,
one.
all of the above.
Yeah.
Pick one.
Yeah. I'd be hitching my horse on Jeff Wilson Jr. I mean, he's looking really good right now.
I'll still take Mostert. I think Mostert, if you have Mostert in your team, that's going to be the person that leads you to a title or to the playoffs, depending upon what else you have to go with him.
Chiefs 27, Jags 17. Pat was 331 and 4, 7 of 39 on the ground, and I think he's going to keep running. I think he's seen what Josh is doing with it, and he's like, I can do all that.
Well, I would run too if you don't spy him.
Well,
You're going to play a man-to-man and not spy him, I'd run too.
yeah, man-to-man, no spy. And once that clears out,
You
I
got,
mean,
you got 15 yards to go before he
15
gets
yards
there.
before he's even got to make a decision.
Right.
Mhm.
Kadarius Toney and MVS get their first KC touchdowns, and tight ends Kelsey and Gray got the other ones. Mecole Hardman, you better take a team deal or Tony will replace your ass.
Tony's already played.
I think that's already the plan.
I mean,
Kansas City's going to make the transition from Tyreek Hill to Kadarius Toney as the number 1 wide receiver this year. And going into next year, Kadarius Toney is going to pick up right where Hill left off and be awesome.
he looks so much bigger and than Mecole Hardman and just as fast.
Well, it's amazing how quickly his hamstrings healed up from that flight from New York to.
When he
Kansas
was on the
City.
plane, they flew to special levels, so he got the ionizing radiation.
Yeah.
It was like an oxygen thing, and
Yeah, it was incredible.
it was a bariatric chamber flight.
Cosmic rays.
Might well have been
Hyperbolic.
hyperbaric chamber.
Isaiah Pacheco had 82 yards, has a stranglehold on the running back spot. CEH is on the way out. CEH had, I think, a target on 2 snaps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
CH is going to be in a different uniform next year.
Pacheco runs hard. He reminds me a lot of the young Kareem Hunt, the way he runs and attacks. Now he's got to figure out how to hold onto the damn ball.
He only dropped it once.
But man, he runs hard.
Well, remember, Kareem Hunt's first touch
Oh yeah.
was a fumble,
After never fumbling in college
and he proceeded to have 3 touchdowns that night against the Patriots.
against Patriots, yeah.
So Spicoli, very good in the loss, 259 and 2, 4 for 26. Doug Peterson is saying that he is finally getting it.
Yeah,
he looked good.
You can
going through
see
his
it.
reads.
He looks confident and comfortable.
The light bulb was on. Sometimes it dims, but the light bulb was on, and he looks really comfortable back there.
He needs one more weapon on the outside to really put this whole thing there, or a tight end, really,
He
frankly.
needs Justin Jefferson type. He needs that. He needs a true number one wide receiver on the outside.
I don't know. I think Kirk's pretty serviceable out there, but I think a good tight end or somebody that he can rely on as that second or third check down.
I think he needs a Gabe Davis type. He needs that other big bodied guy that can be out there and can make some plays.
Possession type receiver.
Yeah. Yeah. If he had a Brandon Ayuk, oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, they'd be amazing. Christian Kirk, 9 for 105 and 2. The Chiefs did not have an answer for him. Working out of the slot, he was killing them. They did bottle up Etienne, 45 rushing yards, 3 for 28 through the air.
And that's why you saw Kirk go off, because they were so focused on ATN coming out of the backfield and making sure they kept him from those big chunk plays.
Yeah.
They took that weapon away and let everybody else go, which is what you typically do: is take the number one weapon away and see if they can figure it out.
Yep.
Giants 24, Texans 16. Not as close as it sounds or looked. Danny Nichols, 197 and 2, 5 for 24. He was picked up by Darius Slayton's 54-yard TD, where he went 4 for 95 and 1. Saquon's, God, what is that? 52 and 1? I think he had more yards than that. I must have mistyped that.
Was he the class of 52?
It could be 1 for 8, but Saquon obviously was killing him in this one. Davis Mills,
everybody this year.
Davis Mills, 319 and 1 after having only 77, I think, in the first half. He threw that one to Nico Collins,
who's back and looks good.
I'm telling you, Nico Collins is big and strong. He should be their number one target, and he will be, because they'll cut Cooks in the offseason.
And the Texans are on course to have the first pick in the draft again.
They'll definitely not win. They won't win 2 more. I can guarantee that. Dameon Pierce is awesome. 94 rushing yards, 2 for 28, but a key fumble in the red zone early that would have given them the opportunity to tie it up. Yeah, the Texans they're bad.
They have pieces. They have parts. It's just a matter of getting them all put together and coached up.
Yeah, I think, to your point, I think Davis Mills ends up going somewhere else.
I think Davis Mills will be there next year.
I think he'll still be there, but I think
he'll be
he
the
ends up
starter
getting
next year.
traded, because I think they'll draft the new starter.
You want to? Have you ever seen the movie? The Draft Day?
Yes.
The situation at quarterback that was faced in that one is what I think the Texans are looking at. Do they have the guy who loves the organization, who's smart and can run the play, has the talent to do it, or are they going to go with the hot shot guy out of college?
Yeah, maybe.
I think if they're smart, they trade that pick away for whatever they can and put Davis Mills back there and put players around him.
Yeah, we'll see. Steelers 20, Saints 10. Andy Dalton killed the Saints, throwing only 1 TD to Juwan Johnson, while Olave was 3 for 40 and Kamara was 26 rushing yards and 3 for 19.
That's ugly.
It's brutal. Kenny Pickett and George Pickens each ran for a TD, and Jalen Warren outpointed Najee Harris thanks to 3 receptions to Najee's 0. Remember how many receptions Najee had last year?
A whole bunch.
A ton.
I still think that
like
foot,
58.
he's not right.
No, he's not. He has an issue with the foot right now.
I mean, if they get too far behind, I think it's.
I don't understand why they haven't shut him down already.
And I mean, 3-6, they're not going anywhere in that division.
No, at this point in time, if you're the Steelers, you're protecting him, you're protecting Watt, and you're letting the young kids learn how to play.
Oh,
and then you go to next year.
They're not protecting Watt. TJ Watt was back.
Activated.
Yeah, and that's why Pittsburgh D was a step over what it's been the past 2 months. And they're going to play. Minka Fitzpatrick's supposed to be back this week. They're going to give the Bengals all they want again.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, they're not going to make it over the hump into the playoffs. So,
No, they're not going to come close to playoffs.
I don't know why, as a franchise, you'd risk Najee, because he is the franchise. Let's be honest.
He's looking a lot like Trent Richardson.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a great call. That is a great call, Doc.
He's looking a lot like Trent Richardson's career trajectory at this point in time.
Yep. He has a blow up year, and then after that, he just can't get back.
He just doesn't have the explosiveness, whether it's the foot or whatever it is.
I mean,
he
still
doesn't
had
look
99 yards rushing. He was 24 for 99. So I mean,
That's 4 yards a carry.
Yeah, that's good.
Which is
It's not bad in the NFL.
No.
But where he was so effective last year was out of the backfield in the swing, and you put him one-on-one, and he's either a big guy out there he's too fast for, or a small guy he just runs over.
Yeah.
He doesn't look explosive. He doesn't look nimble. He doesn't look
No.
agile at all.
I mean, it was a list, Frank. Yeah, I think that's kind of like turf toe. It just lingers if you don't rest it.
And with Liz Frank, you gotta get it shut down so it heals properly.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you got to go in and do surgery to it, and that could linger into the next year at this point.
I mean, ATN missed all last year with that. So
Yep.
Yeah. Colts 25, Raiders 20. Jeff Saturday gets his first win on a Sunday with Matt Ryan at the helm. Sorry, I was contractually obligated to say Saturday on a Sunday. 222 yards, 1 passing touchdown, 4
Whose
for
contract was that?
the sports announcer / podcast host contract.
I guess I haven't seen that one.
You sound insane. Do you realize that?
Bingo.
You should be medicated.
Absolutely. 4 for 38 and 1 on the ground for Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, his 39-yard scamper was not only
Amper.
the longest of his career, but it was more rushing yards than he had in any other game previously. And remember, he's been around since 2008.
I think I would have called that a lumber more than a scamper.
I would have called that a trying to dodge your kids' Legos at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
Sorry, your answer was too late.
It was, but I was trying to get something out there. I'm going.
it was not working. Yeah.
It was ugly. It was.
Oh, it wasn't ugly. I mean, nobody was there. I mean, it's to your whole point about Pat Mahomes. Nobody was there.
Yeah.
My question is, who would win a foot race, him or Mahomes?
Oh,
And
Mahomes in a heartbeat.
Who looked more graceful doing it? Because Mahomes looked ugly running.
Now, what would be great is Matt Ryan versus Tom Brady.
Oh no,
Now,
Ryan would have to spot him 5 yards in a 40-yard dash.
And Brady tripped his ass anyway. So.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
So Paris Campbell, 7 for 76 and 1. Jonathan Taylor is back, and it looks like they're going to be fine riding him going forward. Just like JT last year, 147 and 1, 2 for 16 through the air. I just, like Doc says, let's get him a few more receptions. That'd be a lot better. Michael Pittman, only 7 of 53. For the Raiders, it just almost came together. Carr was a very pedestrian, 248 and 2. Foster Moreau, 3 for 43 and 1, doing his best Darren Waller impersonation.
That's the tight end you want in Las Vegas right now.
Absolutely.
Not only this year, but going forward, because he looks like a tight end. He plays like a tight end. Oh, by the way, he's also healthy all the time.
That helps. Devontae, 9 for 126 and 1. I got to tell you, they're still not using Devontae enough. I mean, there's not a reason to take a shot down the field to Mac Hollins. Throw it to Devontae and hope something happens versus throwing a prayer to Mac Hollins.
You're not wrong. Although they are now squarely the competition for the Texans.
Oh, that's
Oh,
true.
yeah,
they
first
are
draft pick.
they're the number 2
And
team.
if they get the number 1 draft pick,
QB1, see a car.
Carr's gone.
It could be.
Carr's gone no matter what, because they're going to draft a quarterback and start him there.
Now, Josh Jacobs has kept his monster season going. He was 78 for 1 and the monster 6 for 28. And
As long as he's healthy, number one knock on him has always been his health. If he's healthy,
It's going to be interesting because he's in a walk year. This is contract year. So this can be real interesting to see if they decide, hey, this guy's the real deal. We re-sign him, or where he ends up.
if not, there's going to be a lot of teams knocking on his door with contracts.
I agree. On the weekly picks, Doc and Tobin tied for last at 9 and 6.
Tied for last. Okay, gotcha.
Well, I have to take the small victories where I can get them. I was 11 and 4. I've now passed Doc
I
again.
think that math is wrong. I had a 3-game lead over you last week, not a 2-game lead.
I thought it was 2.
It was 2.
Okay, then if it's 2, we should be tied then, not one game ahead.
We'll do an audit. We'll see if we can get a CPA firm to sponsor the show and they can audit the picks.
Absolutely, they can. Since we passed the picks here, we'll come right back with the waivers and top 5s.
Frankly, we could probably get a third grader to count the picks.
More than likely, yes.
After you've listened to Warsquared and have your lineups locked in for the week, we invite you to go over and check out 3 Dogs and a Dude. It's a podcast inspired by 3 crazy rescue dogs and their dude, who like having conversations with interesting people. You never know who might pop into the studio as a guest, and we guarantee some laughs. Check out Three Dogs and a Dude wherever you get your podcasts. Indian Media Productions is your one-stop shop for all of your media creation needs. Whether it's producing a podcast like the one you're listening to, or maybe you just need some video for your social media and websites, sales and promotional videos, or even TV commercials, we've got you covered. Check us out at indianmediapro.com.
All right, so we'll jump back in here with the waivers, and my number one waiver claim here is Kadarius Toney.
There's no doubt he was available. I was a Suns fan. He was available in 77% of the ESPN leagues.
No McCole Hardman, possibly no Juju. I love Toney going forward here. Rashad White is my number two. He'll have a big role going forward. I think they're kind of phasing out Leonard Fournette.
I don't know if they're phasing him out or he's phasing himself out with the injuries and his lack of.
He just gets worn down over the course of the season. He's a big dude.
He's a big dude, but he doesn't take care of himself in the offseason like you would expect an NFL caliber athlete to do.
Well, he's been much more effective out of the backfield than he has running the ball. So why not give it to White, who is making slashing cuts and everything like that? I think he's going to be the lead guy.
Put them both in the backfield at the same point in time and see what happens.
I think White's going to be the lead guy for a while here. Number three, I have Eli Mitchell on here. He got a lot more work than I thought he was going to get. So
looks like a timeshare for the foreseeable future there.
Well, it looks like they're going to play them both until one of them gets hurt. Then,
well, they're hoping to play them both so neither of them get hurt.
Yeah, but one of them's going to get hurt. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
I mean, he's been off for 8 weeks, so he's
got a lot of fresh
8 or 9
legs.
weeks. Yeah, so
He's
I mean,
rested.
he should be fresh. Number four, I've got Christian Watson on here. I mean, he finally exploded.
If he's healthy and if he's playing,
he'll play. I mean,
That's all they've got.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
They just cut Amari Rodgers today for all the punts that he's dropped.
That's one game too early.
Kansas City, I know you're looking for a returner. Do not pick up the phone and call Amari Rodgers.
They cut him one game too quick.
Oh, somebody will.
We need him one more week.
My number five, Nico Collins, just too talented, too big not to own. Number six, I've got Deshaun Watson on here. This is his first week to practice.
Yep, he's available in 41% of the leagues, I believe.
He's available in a lot.
I own him in every league I'm in but one. Because, quite frankly, I picked him at the beginning of the season because I drafted Dak. I'm sorry.
Number seven, Jalen Warren. Warren's outpointing Najee. They like him more. He's much more decisive, and he's got that quick hit ability that they need right now because their line, as Doc has pointed out multiple times before, is not very strong.
It's more porous than a colander.
Yeah. Number eight, Isaiah Pacheco. Why is he so low? Well, because he's not getting rushing touchdowns because Pat throws them all. I mean, but he is a great back to own because as far as other than if he didn't split time with Jerick McKinnon, he'd be at the top of this list.
Well, the reason why he's not top list is because Pat throws everything. But he's eventually going to hand the ball off. They're going to have to at some point in time. And when they do, he's going to be the person that gets the touches and the touchdowns.
Kyron Williams is my number 9. For those of you who don't know who Kyron Williams is, he's a rookie out of
Appalachian State?
Yeah, and he's with the Rams. He actually had more snaps and carries than Cam Akers did this past week.
But so did Little Bo Peep.
I mean, they've kind of phased Cam Akers back in a little bit, but for this guy to come basically as soon as he's activated off IR and he's starting to get more work than Cam Akers, I think that's a monster.
I don't disagree, and he's probably the most explosive back in Los Angeles Rams now. And if you're desperate for running back, he's your man.
Take a flyer. That's right. And then Cole Kmet's my last guy here. If he's not injured, now he got kind of dinged up late on his last catch and he came out. But if he's healthy right now, he is the bailout guy that Justin Fields is looking for.
4 touchdowns the last 2 weeks with 100 yards, about 120 yards receiving between the 2 weeks. That's production looking for in a tight end.
It absolutely is.
Okay, I added Foster Moreau to this list as a tight end who's going to be productive going forward. I also have Terrence Marshall.
I was fully in support of Terrace Marshall with PJ Walker, but Baker is going back into the starting lineup this week. PJ is out with a high ankle sprain, which probably means he's not going to play again this season. So we'll probably see either Baker or Sam Darnold the rest of the way.
Mm-hmm.
So now I expect Terrace Marshall to fall back off.
Yeah, I expect Terrace Marshall to at least be 75% of what he was with PJ Walker. Mayfield there. DeAndre Carter, he's the only wide receiver available in Chargers.
Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are both expected to practice this week.
Yeah, but not play. I would be highly surprised if Mike Williams plays. I would be excited if Keenan Allen plays.
We talking about practice.
Yep.
Not a game. We talking about practice. I know it's.
Yeah.
And then I also have Tyron Matthews, Trylon Burks on the list as well. He's back. He's healthy. He looked physical, but not fast. He looked quick, but Tannehill's throwing the ball. But he's on the list. If you need a wide receiver, he's not going to be a bad one going forward because Tennessee's going to open the offense up more because they have to, and they're healthy. We'll see what happens with him.
I think he's a great stash. He's been dropped in your league almost guaranteed, and it's possible that he becomes something.
Yeah, if you're in a dynasty league and he's available, stash him.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Then I think he'll be a flex player the last 6 weeks of the season that you can put out there and play.
I think he might be a stopgap where you have a late buy.
Yeah,
I mean, because buys go all the way to week 14.
Yeah,
so.
buys are hurting people at this point in time because there's a lot of teams off last week and this week on buys.
So we'll start with the top fives. I'm going to go Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson. I actually got extras in here. Justin Fields, Justin Herbert, and Josh Allen.
Math is hard. Top five. And how many was that?
Enough.
Too many. I've got Mahomes, Hurts, Jackson, Herbert, and Allen. I took Fields out. At some point in time, teams are going to put a spy on him and shut him down. It's just a matter of when. It should have already been done this last week, but they didn't for some reason. My top five running backs are CMC, Saquon, Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, JT. Although I've got JT later as a bust in one of my picks.
Yeah, I went Derrick Henry first. I don't know if the Packers are having trouble with Tony Pollard. I don't know how they're going to be more successful with a guy that's 60 pounds heavier than him and just as fast.
Because Pollard's got one thing that Henry's got, he's fast, but he's not quick. He has a lot of tackles behind the line of scrimmage before he gets there. Pollard's quick and can avoid those. That's the difference between the two backs that I see.
If it's cold in Green Bay in the fourth quarter, they are not going to be trying to tackle Derrick Henry.
Green Bay's going to do run blitzes towards them and play man-to-man on the outside.
Well, they're going to have to. I mean, you've got to sell it against the Titans. Yep. Make them beat you through the air. You can't. I mean, if he could run a 13-man box, they would.
Yeah, that's why I had him at number 3 rather than number 1, just because they're gonna run blitz him to death.
I mean, cover 0, no, cover -5. Everybody, let's go. A water boy, get in there and blitz.
Yep.
The other thing, I love Derrick Henry on a short week.
Oh, I do too, because especially a short week, he did not have a lot of usage this past week. They kind of gave him probably 70% usage of what he normally gets, probably more like 60. So he's gonna come back and go, feed me the ball.
Because they really only have 2 days of practice.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And how are you going to account for trying to stop a guy who is bigger than A.J. Dillon?
Mm-hmm.
And
he's bigger than the linebackers.
Christian McCaffrey, Saquon, Dalvin Cook, Jonathan Taylor. Again, with Jonathan Taylor, I don't care what their lineups are. All it takes is that one big run, 66, 50, 60 yards for a touchdown. You're thrilled. Wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel. I'm telling you right now, do not be worried about the Eagles. They are going to be so pissed off, and they're going to come out and want to make an example of the Colts.
I would hate to be the Colts this week against the Eagles. That's going to be a physical bruising affair. I've got Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, A.J. Brown, and Jamar Chase.
You think he's coming back this week?
I think he's coming back this week. And if I had to pick a San Francisco wide receiver to put on there, I'd put Ayuk on here rather than Samuel.
I just figure Debo's kind of due.
Debo without the touches out of the backfield is a average to is a C plus B minus wide receiver
Yeah, but they'll play the Cardinals,
who give up everything.
who give away the farm.
That's why I think Ayuk's going to be the one you want there between
Yeah,
the two.
maybe
of them.
so.
And I wouldn't mind having both of them.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't come back in here and take out Dallas Goedert. Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, TJ Hawkinson, Dalton Schultz, and I'll go ahead and then let me throw Hayden Hurst on there.
Yeah. I have Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, Hawkinson, Kittles, and Dalton Schultz. There's not tight ends. There's those five. I think Foster Moreau's going to have a good week. Cole Kmet could have a good week. But
yeah,
tight ends are pretty much, once you get past the big three, you're pretty much game of roulette at that point in time.
Yeah. I think maybe, are the Bears off this week? I think maybe that's
they're at the Falcons.
Oh,
at the
that's
Falcons.
right.
Yep.
So,
oh yeah, I should definitely have put Cole Kmet on there. Sleepers, I got Christian Watson, Eli Mitchell, DeAndre Swift. I'm just begging for DeAndre Swift to break out.
3 weeks ago when I put the number 2 wide receiver from Cincinnati on here as a sleeper type thing. Remember the look you gave me and the guff you gave me?
Yeah.
How can Swift as the number 1 running back be a sleeper?
Because he's not getting touches. He had 6 rushes for 6 yards, and I think 1 reception for 6 yards. Might have been 3 yards.
I think they rushed him back too soon.
I think they're afraid that they'll him again, and so they're not giving him as much work as he wants.
Yeah, well, it's the NFL. They're expendable. Fire them up, line them up, boys.
I put DeAndre Carter on here. I like Tobin. I don't think Keenan Allen's coming back. I hope Mike Williams is coming back because he kills the Chiefs.
I hope they both miss one more week.
I bet you do. And then Tyler Algier on here. I think he's going to run all over the Bears.
Yeah. I've got Austin Hooper added to the list.
The hoopa.
Tennessee starting to throw the ball to tight end.
Yep.
Tannehill's traditionally used him as a safety blanket, and he had, I think, 5 catches this last week for right around 60, 65 yards, which that's 11 points from a tight end. That's not bad in this league.
That is good.
And with some speed on the outside, they'll get a little more attention, which should open up Hooper, theoretically.
All right, so we go in here into our league recaps. In the Dynasty League, Tobin lost to me in a shootout where I put up the most points on the week. Doc got beat by Seth because Doc's terrible.
Yep.
Billy nearly assured double pancake for Zane.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, I had lunch with Zane that day, and we talked about this, and he's sure he can right the boat and get out of syrup lane.
He's at least 2 games. I think he's actually, with tiebreakers, 3 games back with only, 4 weeks to go?
In which league?
Both, he says.
He's 2 games in the cellar in both leagues, and I think a tiebreaker beyond that in both.
But
is he sniffing glue?
I'm trying to figure out what he's on, because that boy's definitely eating some pancakes somewhere.
Wait, Zane?
Are you high? Exactly.
He's going to be high on maple syrup is what he's going to be high on.
No doubt.
He's going to have some issues. He's going to be pulling double pancake sometime this year.
So if there's any breakfast establishment proprietors that would like a little, publicity on this show, just hit us up. We'll throw some bones your way.
And one night of when I did my pancake thing, it was about $450 worth of food that went through that table that night.
Yeah, and
I'm guessing that's minimum too. I would guess it's probably more like $600 by the time everything got done.
Yeah. So, or any of you bars that want to maybe open up your kitchen and throw some pancakes on the griddle. I mean, pancakes and beer, that could work, right?
That would be better than the pancakes and orange juice I had.
maybe we put a caveat on there that a certain number of shots equals a short stack. I mean, we
sure
could figure something out.
Lots of things depending on who wants to sponsor it.
Now, you could do the pancake bun cheeseburger.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If you own a restaurant and you're willing to negotiate, give us a call, because we can come up with lots of creative and inventive ideas to bring more business to your establishment for not only that night but going forward.
I mean, this show could go live from your establishment for the night.
Yes, very easily.
Oh God, that'd be fun. The projector pulled out a win. Shook got trogged. Billy versus Doc this week. Billy wanted me to make sure to mention to Doc that he is currently a 30-point favorite, and he doesn't have a kicker or a defense in his lineup.
Wow.
Yeah, considering the fact being I started the season with 4 running backs, I have 1 healthy one left. I started the season with 5 wide receivers that I thought I'd be able to play, and I have 2 healthy ones left. Not trying. Just poop happens. And by the way, Billy, oh yeah, I'm still in first place, aren't I? According to the leagues, the way they listed that, I'm still in first place because I've scored more points than you this year. I've had 2 bad weeks.
Yep. These are all true. How
Who won your first matchup?
Billy did.
Billy
So
did.
if
Oh,
you're
there's your
tied,
tiebreaker.
If you're tied, you are currently in second place.
To this league, I'm number 1 on this because they have listed
Well,
my
it's
total
because it
points
hasn't
at
been
that point
sorted
in
by
time.
tiebreakers yet.
Right. It doesn't get sorted
It'll be
that
an
way.
interesting week to see what happens as you're trying to trade everything you possibly can to get Tyreek Hill, can't you? Your team's just not good enough, is it, Billy?
Well, he likes to meddle. You know that. Although I will say this in defense of Billy and Tobin, I've heard the trade offers that they have made for Tyreek Hill. Tobin's was awesome.
That should have been a snap yes.
But the things that Zane wanted back for Tyreek Hill were
I made a trade offer
obscene.
for Tyreek Hill, and he wanted Burrow, Chubb, and Chase back in response for Hill.
Now, full disclosure, I did say to Zane, 2 starters and a draft pick for Tyreek Hill.
I was willing to give him 2 starters and 2 draft picks.
I don't know.
2 starters on his team, but now that one of them's healthy,
My offers are going down. I mean, what did Tyreek have this week? 15 points? I mean, hell, I had 3 guys go over the top of that.
Nico Collins scored better than he did, so.
Yeah, whatever. Moving on.
In the BNI League, Tobin crushed the double pancaker. I beat Allie to take sole possession of first with everyone else in the Tupac at 5-5 and 1 game back. That is the weirdest looking thing I've ever seen.
I mean, we've got 7 teams in the league overall at 5-5.
Yeah.
1 at 4-6.
We've become
and
the NFL.
Zane at 2-8. 2 and he ate a lot of pancakes.
Oh my gosh. It's a lock.
He's 3 games back because I beat him and I'm the next closest, and I just beat him this week for the tiebreaker.
Yeah, he's pretty much a lock for pancakes there, bud.
Yeah.
Crazy. Doc got beat by Brandon.
Because Jerry Jeudy got injured on the first play of the game.
Brandon.
Freaking Washington beat him?
Yes,
Or Oregon or wherever the hell it was. I don't know.
absolutely.
Thank you, Jerry Jeudy. Oh, by the way, he also had. Does he have Pat Mahomes in that league? He had one player
Hoff
that
has Mahomes.
he had one player that went off and scored like 29 points against me. It's like,
Welcome to my world.
I know. I played Mixon last week. I played
Yep.
Mahomes in every league, but this one this week.
Yeah, in the dynasty, I'm second in the league in scoring and first in the league in
Points
points
allowed.
against.
Yeah.
And I'm like 3 games out of the
I'm
playoffs. I'm like, come
first in
on.
scoring and number 2 in points allowed in the dynasty if I remember correctly.
Now Doc is second in the Biggie division where Randy is the king there. So
But I'm still in the playoffs.
it's, gosh, that is the craziest thing. I actually am the lowest scoring team in the BNI league.
And you're in
And
first
you're
place.
in first place in the shit division.
That's right.
God, I should have handpicked those instead of let the randomizer do those.
Duh!
I'm the worst commissioner ever.
I agree.
In the Scott Fish Bowl, I was the 3rd highest scoring team this week. Faced the highest scoring team.
I see a theme for the show.
Yeah.
However, this was more like the team I drafted. The cut line I found out today is an average basically of 142.4 points per week. So this was my week. I scored, I think, a 147, something like that. You know, JT was back.
So you're above average for once.
I was above average.
It's a miracle.
You can actually say that for once in your life, you're actually above average.
Wow.
In the agency, Toby jumped up and kicked me in the ding ding, but I faced Brad, Marty, and Dak Street after I play Freddie this week. So Freddie and Toby both have to play Nick and Darren. So they've got losses coming up for sure. I like my chances of making it into the playoffs. Nick thrashed Wardo. Freddie stayed red hot. He won his 5th in a row,
Kicked my
beating
butt.
Doc. Doc has virtually sewn up the first spot in his division.
Yep.
Primarily because everybody else sucks.
If I could beat Wardo this week, I've pretty much sewn up first in our division.
But he'll probably end up facing Darren in the playoffs.
Who's hot?
Whose team's going
Doing
buck
really well.
wild, and he gets all of his Bengals back this week. So he'll probably pass Wardo.
Yep. It's going to be you and Nick and me and Wardo. Me and Darren in the playoffs.
Yeah, probably so.
The only thing that might change that is Freddie and Toby, who I play later in the season, or
you play Toby the last game of the season, which will probably knock Toby out of the playoffs.
unless I have my choice between knocking you or Toby out, then we'll see what happens.
Oh, wow. A little strategery here.
Wow.
He can be bought, I think.
He is.
Oh, I can definitely be bought. There's no doubt about that.
That is for sure.
You may be easy, but you ain't cheap, right?
Exactly.
Or is it the
Oh,
other
no,
way around? I never get that one right.
Let's be real.
It is both. 100%.
Let's be both. Let's be real.
All right, that's going to do it for our show for this week. Thank you for listening. Please stick around and listen to the bonus segment and the previews coming up next. Peace out.